I see the timer in the top of the screen running. We are live. Woo! The Trump dance is just taking the nation over. It's taking it by storm. Everyone in the NFL, college sports, everybody's doing the Trump double fisting cocks dance, as Bill Maher has dubbed it. Here we are. I have to check the audio. Actually live to make sure the audio's working. Just a second. Actually live. Sounds good. It sounds good. The audio's working. Just a second. Let me close that. Actually live. Sounds good. How do I close that? There it is. It's closed. I'm live. I'm here. I apologize for many pre-records. There will be many more coming. It's just a very busy calendar that I have. Last week I had to pre-record because my alma mater, my former high school football team, was playing for state sectional championship. They got killed. I was hoping that the team that I used to coach would win their section, but they also got killed at the sectional round of the playoffs. So, oh well, no dice, no state group championships, no state sectional championships this year. It happens, but you got to go and support the kids because it's important to them. Some of them are going to be playing their last football ever. It's a very emotional time, very important time in a young athlete's life. Senior year of high school, those big state level games. So for the health of the sport of football, I always try to go out and support it because there are like crazed mothers and politicians out there who want to do away with tackle football. So I do feel as though if you're a football guy, you have a responsibility to support the sport at its lowest levels. And high school football is just an incredible slice of of Americana. I was at the game, and the kids are running around. They're all chatting. The kids that don't play football are just they're walking around. They're by the snack stand trying to find chicks to finger underneath the bleachers. It's just good old. It's America. The suburbs on a November night, you could smell the fucking like fire pits and fireplaces going. It was at my high school that I went to, so. It was overflow parking, but because I knew the town, I knew where to find just like a little side street to fucking pull in on. Strolled a couple blocks. I was going to take a walk around town. I was going to grab like a beer at the town liquor store and then grab a couple slices of pizza and fucking just stroll around. But I'm currently training for a marathon, and every Friday is my long run day. So by Friday night, my fucking feet are cooked. But I do love a nice walk around the burbs, especially on an October night with some leaves crunching underfoot, a couple slices of good hometown pizzeria. That's what the holidays are all about. That. I had 18 miles today, so my dogs are a barking. And I will not be, I'm doing the holidays down at the Jersey Shore this year. We're doing Christmas Day up at my uncle's place in North Jersey, but our holidays have moved very much down the shore as a family. So we don't do Blackout Wednesday in our hometown anymore. That was a big deal back in the day. I would say, I'm not sure when my final hometown Blackout Wednesday was. Pre-pandemic for sure. Probably like, I would say maybe when I was 30, maybe 31 or so. I don't know. I'd go crash at my parents' place. Thanksgiving is such an interesting time because everyone, if you come from kind of a small town, everyone still goes back home because a lot the parents host Thanksgiving, so you're there. A lot of people crash with family over the holidays, so you see people if you go back to your hometown from like many, many years. Like I grew up in a town of 11,000 people. So you know everybody, like you know people who are considerably older than you and considerably younger than you just from, having siblings or whatever, whose fucking parents went to high school together or whatever, neighbors and such. So the holidays in a town like that are usually pretty poppin'. Like there are a lot of parties and gatherings going on, and we would just get fucking shithoused, like fucking booze, coke, weed. You're walking everywhere. It's not a big deal. Just having a good time, especially those first few out of the gate in college, and then when I was in the Marine Corps, when I'd be able to make it back. Yeah, just aggressive. I blacked out one night, and we had a bunch of appetizers for Thanksgiving down in the basement fridge, and I remember just going to fucking town. I don't know what it was, like a cold antipasto or something like that, or like some eggplant rollatini, whatever the fuck it was. I just sat on the floor in the laundry room and just took it to the fucking face. Um, that some people have bad memories of taking it to the face in the laundry room. If you were molested by an older family member or a babysitter, the words "take it to the face" in the laundry room might have a completely different connotation. For that, I apologize. I'm the only brajol that I took to the face in the laundry room was out of the refrigerator. But I love it. Blackout Wednesday, such a great night. I don't do it anymore, but I certainly endorse it. I love the idea of people going home for the holidays, going to their local hometown like dive bar, or tavern, or sports bar, wherever it is that you used to try to sneak in underage or use your fake ID when you were living with summers home from college, whatever. You go back to that place, you run into, because you never know who of what age group is going to show up there. There might be some, you'd be like 35 years old, and night before Thanksgiving, you're at the bar, and all of a sudden, some chick who is a fucking ugly duckling back in high school comes in. She's divorced. She's got huge tits. Fucking her morals loosened up when she went to a state university. She's a whole new ball game. You get to talking about the old days, and the next thing you know, you're up to your fucking wrist on her parents' basement couch. So go to Blackout Wednesday. I know there's this weird, some people, I guess, have bad experiences growing up or whatever, and they never want to go back to their hometown again. So like this time of year when the class reunions or the holiday drinking goes on, they like frown upon it, and they try to shit on it as though it's like this arrested development, or you can't get away from the past or whatever. And it's like, no, you're gonna be on this planet for, if you're lucky, you might tickle 100 years, right? Most people are going to check out before they get to 90. If you make it through your early 80s, you're in pretty fucking, you did good. You should value and cherish, I think, every phase of your life, right? From growing up through college, through, looking back fondly on like whatever your post grad St. Elmo's fire years were, whatever they are. It's very, barring some sort of horrific trauma, like, walking in and finding that, a fucking parent, one of your parents decided to sit in the fucking garage with the car running and escape from this earthly hell. Barring something like that, there's nothing wrong with once a year kind of going back to where you come from, having a good time, taking a trip down memory lane. Hey, there's that spot we drove by that guy and threw fucking eggs and we hit him in the nuts. It was fucking hilarious. And you show it to, whatever, your significant other, your kid or whatever, and just fucking enjoy where you come from. I never understood. It was always a trope in TV or movies about going back for the holidays or like a reunion or something like that, where people were just fucking dreading it. But yeah, you would think in the era of the Rampage shooter that there would be more Blackout Wednesday spree killings, because if you were traumatized for that, that that much time and you're still carrying it with you, you would think, hey, let me go settle some hash. Fucking a lot of those people, they grow up like fucking rejects. Either they do incredible, they reach insane heights because they're driven by their childhood trauma, or they go down this path where they become even more and more deranged. And you would think that some of the deranged ones, knowing that this goes on, would just fucking, they would go like that, like Carrie, and fucking just pig's blood everywhere. But it is what it is. Who's here? Who is out in the comments section? Howdy to the boys. Howdy to the boys. Jordan, why don't you take a seat right over there? I was thinking about that. Jordan says, "How was the high school puss in the stands?" I was actually thinking about, like, because they're fucking. I was leaning up against a fence, looking right out at the field, so I get like a front row seat for the action. I pulled right up. There was a drive coming into the end zone, so I got to watch us give up some points right down there. But the cheerleaders were walking by, and their skirts are like they're like rap video short, and I was like, the people who say that society is sexualizing children, and like educators are sexualizing children, have a very good point. Like, it's one of those things where if you see it, you see it. And like, what the fuck? Like, if I was a parent and my teenage daughter, for a school sanctioned activity, was walking around in a skirt that just the hem of which barely came over her fucking ass cheek, and like, I would have serious questions. Like, if my daughter was going out to a fucking teen night at a club or like a dance or something with her friends, and she dressed like that, I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but I'd be like, okay, that's the outfit. That's what her and her friends dress like. They're growing up, developing, whatever. But a school activity where an educator is handing out the uniforms, and you're like, a stiff breeze is going to just expose these kids to the entire fucking stadium. It really is a bit of a head scratcher. And then I got to thinking about like the early 2000s, when like Maxim and that sort of, it was post 90s shock culture, but it was like post 9/11 too. So we were kind of getting really wild and weird with it. Like, it was 90s shock culture meets the attitude of, you could die at any moment in a horrific terrorist attack, so let's go fucking crazy. And there was the people would be counting down. There was always like a countdown. It's like grown men would be counting down to when Britney Spears was going to turn 18, or to when Miley Cyrus was going to turn 18. And in retrospect, it was wild that was going on so publicly. Let's see. Gibbons Gomez, how you doing? Buck. I actually did see some deer out on the trail today when I was running. Buck. Indeed. Cowster, it is live. Good to see you, sir. Philly Fathead, the Trump dance. Yeah, it is a good dance. Whether you like him or not, it is a hell of a dance. The dangers of vaping. I love that. I don't know if I guess people were getting fucked up in school when I was growing up. I had sports, so I never could. We did this thing called the keg race in my town, where the end of your senior year, from New Year's Day of your senior year to graduation day, you have that much time to finish the number of kegs that is your class year. So, like, the class of 99 had to finish 99 kegs. And I know, like, kids who didn't play sports, there were always, like, just those completely aloof or absentee parents, you know, and the fucking kids would be going back and hanging out in, like, a garage, just hammering fucking keg beer, and then coming back to school and walking around a little fucked up. I know some kids were, like, sniffing glue and whatnot, but yeah, I never got into the in school intoxication, except for the last day of school when sports and stuff were over. I would usually have some kind of, like, day drinking event going on. Very Dazed and Confused. We were very big. We loved Dazed and Confused. That was a big movie for us. So we were big time last day of school drinkers. It was always a ritual. Anyway, a bunch of shit to talk about tonight. Well, I already unloaded upon you my love for Blackout Wednesday. We talk a lot about my commute to work on this show, and I'm always saying, it's getting wild out there. Bad things happening. Bad things. And obviously, if you're following the news, Daniel Penny currently on trial, the Marine who, he put a guy in a chokehold and the guy wound up dead. Of course, the guy that was in the chokehold had been threatening to kill people on the subway. And there's this big argument where it's like, oh, crazy guys on the train yell stuff all the time. There is a contingent of New York City liberal who think that it's crazy to claim that the city or the subways have gotten dangerous. And if you bring this up, you're accused of all sorts of racism and fear mongering. And they'll say something like, I've been riding the subway for years and nothing's ever, all just the kind of smug shit that just lost them the election, as it were. But this latest one, this guy just went across New York City stabbing people to death. He killed 3 people. Ramon Rivera had been released from Rikers on good behavior. He's got a long history of mental health issues, a record of arrests. He was apparently, I'm seeing on the Hoboken Instagram page that I follow, he had been arrested a couple times in Hoboken. He was known around Hoboken. And there's a big argument going on in Hoboken because there's this park, Church Square Park, where a vagrant attacked a woman and, like, a UPS driver or an Amazon driver had to intervene and save her. And people are demanding that the town do something about it. And you have all these fucking douchebags, because a lot of people move from Brooklyn to Hoboken. So there's been a sort of washing over of Hoboken and Jersey City with these fucking Brooklyn, they were the ones getting into, like, small batch gin and bourbon, 15 years ago, and growing out their beards and getting the ear gauges and whatnot. A lot of those people moving to Hoboken and Jersey City, and they get very upset if you imply that crime is an issue, because they think it's okay that violent crime comes part and parcel with the urban experience. And they think that there's something that if you go after these people who do shit like this and you want to put them away and get them off the street, so that, mothers can walk down the street with fucking strollers, or in this case, the guy fucking murdered a construction worker, just a guy at work. Imagine being stabbed to death at work. Like, what the fuck? That's so much worse, by the way, than any of the Me Too stuff. Show me 1 million penises at work before I get stabbed to death at work. But there is a slice of the population, in urban areas, a politically powerful slice of the population, and a very vocal slice of the population who thinks that to live in an urban area means to accept this as a sort of inherent risk, to accept that this guy with many arrests, mostly nonviolent, including burglary at a convenience store, of course. Well, because what they do is they jump to stabbing, right? That's the first one. He was sent from Rikers to the Bellevue Psych Unit at least twice. While there on May 6th, he assaulted a correction officer, but court transcripts from a hearing 3 months later show no mention was made of the assault, nor Rivera's mental health issues. He pleaded guilty in exchange for a 364-day sentence at that hearing. Had he served that sentence, he still would have been at Rikers rather than on the streets. So they didn't mention the fact that he assaulted a corrections officer, which, by the way, if you assault a fucking corrections officer, you're probably a pretty dangerous person. Like, that's if you get into a fight in jail, I get it. Like, it happens. You have to defend yourself, whatever. Like, things are territorial. There's a lot kind of riding on your reputation for self-defense. You have to at least show that you're not going to be a fucking bitch and get taken down. You got to throw some punches. You got to do some fucking damage. If someone attacks you, right? Because they're looking for easy targets. But to go after a corrections officer means that you're a fucking nut job. So they let him out. They didn't mention that he attacked a corrections officer when he was in court. They let him out, and inside of 2 hours and 3 minutes, he went and he killed 3 people between 19th and 41st Street. It was 19th, 30th, and 41st Streets. If you know anything about Manhattan, these are parts of the city where there are dangerous neighborhoods, and then there are neighborhoods where for a long time you've had the expectation of safety, and that no longer exists. These fucking nut jobs are going around and doing all sorts of shit like this. They're throwing people in front of fucking trains. The first stabbing, 8:22 a.m. 36-year-old man knifed in the abdomen outside a construction site where he had been working. He was later identified as Angel Latalandi of Peekskill. So Peekskill is kind of far upstate. So this guy, 8:22 a.m., he's just fucking commuted into the city. He got on the bus that morning. Did not think that when he got to work, he would be getting fatally stabbed in the abdomen. And you see these guys outside the construction sites. They're hanging out. They're drinking coffee, eating sandwiches. They're bullshitting. They're getting ready to do a day of back-breaking labor. And all of a sudden, this guy comes and leaves him in a fucking pile of blood and guts on the fucking sidewalk. Another one, 67-year-old man, multiple stab wounds to the abdomen. Imagine that. Being on this planet 67 years, better part of 7 decades, and all of a sudden, some guy, however fucking old this guy is, he's 30 something, I think. Does the article say how old this fucking piece of shit is? No, they don't mention it. I think he's I want to say he's in his 30s. So for 4 decades, this guy has just been on a path towards you, and the system has facilitated that. And then the final person, Wilma Augustine, a migrant living in a midtown shelter. Imagine making the walk from fucking Venezuela or wherever you fucking came from, and you think, finally I've escaped the violence, only to get to New York City and to just get fucking gutted in the morning, no less, in broad daylight. You shouldn't get. I understand if you get jumped on the street late at night. What were you doing out? You gotta be careful. If you go to a bad neighborhood, I get. If you're out on the street in Manhattan at 8:30 in the morning, that's time for coffee, a bagel, and the paper. You should have the expectation of safety, except we forget that it is the concrete jungle and there are just fucking predators all over the fucking place. Disgusting. Yes, Monday morning mowing with Mike. Yeah, this this fucking condescension that a lot of urban types look down on suburbanites with. I love going back to the fucking suburbs. It's so fucking nice. I was down today. I was down in Howell, New Jersey, which is it's beyond suburb. It's like country. I did my 18 miles around the Manasquan Reservoir. I did like 3.5 laps. Fucking, it's just so calm and peaceful, and you're out on the trail and people pass you and they smile and wave, and it's the complete inversion of all of this, and people have an absolutely justifiable right to be disgusted by this kind of thing. I'm gonna crack this seltzer here real quick. I love a goddamn seltzer. Oh yeah. I keep a 12er of these in my car so I can drink them when I'm driving around. I love seltzer. Mikey is a seltzer boy. So speaking of the very long run I was on today, there are, I guess, a handful of different kind of sports that people get into when they're in their 30s, 40s, whatever. I feel like you either do really intense shit like high rocks or like powerlifting, or like I've done I like a nice road race or whatever. I'll go at like going out and doing training for this marathon's been a very interesting experience for me because it's just so different from anything I've ever done athletically. But there's also another class of people who get into paddle sports. And in my neighborhood, there's now pickleball. There used to just be tennis, but tennis and pickleball seem to be the big two. My my lady friend is big not big into the tennis, but she like takes tennis lessons. She's constantly busting my balls to come play tennis. And I keep explaining to her that I have no fucking desire to do that. So we are at a bit of a stalemate. Eventually, I'm sure she'll wind up getting fucking plowed by like a tennis instructor or something like that. It'll be a whole big fucking problem. But in the meantime, there are also a lot of people getting into pickleball, and I've noticed that tennis seems to be very popular amongst the more limp-wristed set, like a lot of very sort of diminutive Indian and Asian guys in my neighborhood who look to be about my age play tennis. I know the finance guys. I know they're all into like squash and fucking racquetball. That's a whole different thing. They're fucking nut jobs. They get into a fucking cage with each other, and I guess they just unleash all of their fucking anger. Because if you're a junior finance guy, apparently you just hate your fucking life for the first few years. But pickleball is very popular amongst geriatrics. It is a geriatric sport. It's supposed to keep them moving laterally and keep their hand-eye coordination and everything, We used to do it in high school in gym class. We would play it. There would be a tournament, and like you'd get very into it. Like fucking, you'd be betting against your friends, and there'd be people fucking taking action on the sides and cheering. Like it was a very big thing. But it's also, I've noticed, become the popular sport amongst not guys that I would say were ever super athletic. I would say the guy who only played JV sports and has carried a sort of chip on his shoulder about it, like the Uncle Rico types who are going to get out there and play entirely too hard and too aggressively in a game that involves women. They seem to love fucking pickleball. I used to run into guys like that when I would play when I was playing beer league football in Hoboken. There'd always be some guy who would fucking try to run like a rub route on like a chick who's like a fucking co-ed intramural league. They would fucking get slamming into fucking gloves, eye black, headband. I remember there was one motherfucker like that, and I used to best him all the time. I cooked his ass for a touchdown once. I caught them fucking playing zero, no fucking safety help over the top on a 4th down. And I fucking looked at the quarterback, gave him a little nod, and just zipped down the field, caught one in my chest, and took off. And this fucking guy tried to run me down, but could not from his spot on the field. And then a couple other times, I made big defensive plays against him. And this fucking, you would just see this guy, whatever game he was playing in, he'd be like running around, flailing his arms wildly, like getting into people's faces. So it was always a fucking treat to get the best of this guy on a rep. And I ended my intramural football career without him ever getting one over on me. So I feel very good about that. In any case, I can't stand these fucking types of guys. They're the biggest. It's a personality flaw. Like it's a deep defect. And we saw that come to a head in a recent pickleball game here. There's this video that was going around. The man who got kicked in the face in a shocking moment of pickleball violence. Not shocking. Seems like the kind of thing very, very likely to happen. The pickleball types are fucking, there's something wrong with them. Unless you're 75 years old. What are you doing playing pickleball? Footage of the fiery on-court altercation at a tournament in Mexico has gone viral, surprising many given pickleball's reputation as a friendly sport. It's not, though. It is discreetly a sport for absolute fucking douchebags. My parents play. In what happened to be a match point, the eventual kicker, who was wearing pink shorts, received a serve before approaching the net, where he illegally stepped over the non-volley line. What do they call that? The kitchen? I think they call that the kitchen. That mistake gave away a foot fault and ultimately the match. On the other side of the net, the man who would be kicked was wearing a green shirt and identified as Peter Schunk, celebrated, screaming, "Come on, let's go, fuck yeah." Like I told you, this sport, it just brings out this sort of bizarre macho posturing out of these guys who are just, they have to play pickleball because they have to play an old people's sport. They can't play actual sports. While that wasn't the act of a gracious winner, it all went wrong when the pair stepped up to the line to shake hands. The man in the pink shorts appeared to hold out his paddle, which the man in the green knocked out of his hands. The man in the green leaned over the net to pick up the paddle he had just knocked to the ground, and that's when the man in the pink shorts kicked his opponent in the face. So we'll get a look at this. Let's have a peek. I forget how to share. Here it is. Never, never should the result of a point in pickleball elicit that kind of response from a grown man. This is pickleball. You should be required to play this sport with a beer in one hand. Like, this should very much be like golf. Let me get that again because I was getting set up here. I didn't get to. Let's see the volley. Oh! I guess they ran the kick at the beginning of it. Where was the where did he just yelled "Let's go"? How did I miss that? Wow. Here's the point. Here it is. By the way, it'd be great if they had just gone back to playing after this guy got fucking tuned up in the fucking face. Come on! Let's go! This guy, so the guy in the pink shorts, I guess, has to save face, maybe, because, I mean, he just got bitched on that. I mean, he got fucking cooked. I don't know how this guy's playing in any kind of championship round, because that was just disgraceful. I mean, he just got absolutely cooked. Fuck yeah! Oh! I mean, I get that you're mad that maybe he yelled and you got embarrassed on the point, but like, he was going to pick the paddle up for you. Like, he was going to give it to you, clearly trying to kind of come back down from the situation. I mean, as stupid as this fucking sport is, you know, you got fucking toasted. If we're gonna suspend disbelief and sort of pretend that this is a cool sport, he does get to celebrate. He does get to give his jolly fuck yeah, and you got to take it. That's sports, right? That's how it goes. You got fucking cooked. I want to see the kick one more time. One more time. I am from the E-Bombs World generation where we could just watch something like this over and over again. There used to be a video of like a pizza delivery guy getting hit by a car that my friends would watch on repeat fucking every day in the school library. Oh! Boom. Let's see him get toasted one more time because I don't like this guy. He also got called for a foot fault. I guess he stepped on the line. Fucking eagle-eyed referee over there. So this guy is just pissed. But he just looks like such a... I mean, he looks like... Remember in like 90s movies where there would be like a guy, you know, maybe like a stepfather or like somebody's douchebag boss or something like that. And they wouldn't really be muscular or jacked. They were this sort of 90s fit where it looked like they did a lot of aerobics and some curls. That's what that guy looks like. He's got that, it's 90s fit. It's you know, the guy who's banging the sleazeball attorney who's banging your ex-wife who helped work on the fucking divorce settlement. That's what that guy is built like. And probably a very similar personality, too. So this guy, Shank, is the guy who got kicked in the face. I was just fired up after the win. I went to tap his paddle and it fell out of his hand. I immediately bent to pick it up for him. No bad intentions, but what happened next shocked everyone. I do appreciate that he gave a little Chris Hansen tease there. Instead of saying, and then he kicked me in the face, he says, what happened next shocked everyone. Shank fell to the ground, seemingly unconscious as he fell in the net, and his teammate confronted the kicker, shoving him in the face, and other people in the area stepped in. And I guess the outlet that covers pickleball is called the Kitchen Pickle, because that area in the front near the net, that square, this green rectangle here is called the kitchen. Um, you're not supposed to go in the kitchen, I guess. I hear my parents play so much fucking pickleball. Oh, I hear them talking about the kitchen all the time. I don't know. That's the kitchen, I guess. Um, the kitchen pickle revealed that Shank had no interest in pressing charges, even though he lost memory for 3 hours. Dude, I cross a lot of very busy urban streets, and there are a lot of very reckless drivers and like fucking e-bike riders and shit. And I don't want to get hit by anything, but if I do, I am so ready to sue everybody. Oh, Uber Eats fucking delivery guy knocked me over, fucking put me on my fucking ass. Oh, I fucking, scraped a hand, broke a finger, whatever. Fucking Uber Eats. You'll be hearing from I think, is Barnes dead? It's just Salino now. You'll be hearing from one of them, maybe one and a ghost. We're coming for you. Or this guy I hear on the radio here all the time, this D'Agostino guy. He fucking sings his own jingle. That's how much this guy loves doing, fucking injury cases. He sings his own jingle. D'Agostino law. So you'll be hearing from either Salino, Barnes, or D'Agostino. Sue. Get out there. Get a lawyer. Sue. The man who was kicked wants everyone to know that he is okay. Well, I want to know about the guy who kicked him. I love, this is the Kitchen Pickle, the account tweeted. While I understand things get heated at tournaments, this behavior is disgusting and completely unacceptable. I love pickleball as much as anyone I know, but at the end of the day, it's just pickleball. At the end of the day, it's just pickleball. Something to think about there. You're late, Theano. Am I pronouncing it right? Theano. But you are here. We see you. We recognize you. We welcome you. Nighttime Conqueror. Good to have you in the house. Pickleball replaced badminton. Yeah, we played badminton in high school gym too. We played a lot of fruity fucking paddle games. I remember my spring of my senior year, I think I got like a D in gym because we were playing tennis, and fucking I just to entertain my buddies, literally every time the ball was served to me, I would wind up and just fucking crank it over the fence. And the gym teacher already hated me because in his health class, on a test, instead of using like the appropriate terminology, I would use it for like sexual intercourse. I would write if they're fucking, and then I at the end that old joke, like if your Uncle Jack was stuck on a horse, would you help your Uncle Jack off a horse? I wrote at the end of the test, I wrote extra credit. If your Uncle Jack was stuck on a horse, would you help your Uncle Jack off a horse? They called my parents. fucking fucking public educators. What fucking dorks. Anyway, that guy fucking hated me. We were also, it was also on his watch that there was this kid. I didn't know what a twink was when I was in high school, but eventually I would come to realize when my buddy texted me a copy. I have no idea how he got his hands on it. This guy's fucking gay wedding invitation, like decades later. I had no idea that this kid was gay. I just thought he was like a little fucking weirdo, because it was the early 2000s. We didn't really know what gay was. Like Ricky Martin was like gay. That's what we knew gay was, Ricky Martin, or like some like Queer Eye, like just like a flaming leather pants over the top gay guy. We didn't know that like the fucking, the soft spoken kid with the well parted hair in class who always talked to the girls. We didn't realize that that's what he was, a twink. We just thought he was like a fucking, a dork. So we had this shit Project Adventure where I don't know why the high school thought that this was like a safe thing to do under the watch of a gym teacher, but they would put you in harnesses and they would have you do like this fucking tree course out by the football field, like where you would be like climbing on fucking wires and shit. Like it was like shit that I did when I was in the fucking Marine Corps. It was like a confidence course. And we were finishing it up one day, and this kid was in the harness, and like fucking the football team and the wrestling team just fucking combined to hoist him up. And we had him several feet up off the ground, just dangling. And he was like squealing and giggling with delight, but started screaming for the gym teacher to come over and help him. And this guy turns around and is like, "What the hell are you doing?" And we all literally just looked at once. You just see, however 5-6 guys were doing it, just dropped the rope at the same time, and this kid came crashing to the fucking ground. So needless to say, this particular gym teacher, and by extension, none of the gym teachers except this one guy who was he was a door gunner on a helicopter in Vietnam. He loved the sports guys. He was the golf coach. I think he did a lot of drinking and a lot of smoking. And he was just old, grizzled, and very tan. And I believe he was a door gunner in Vietnam. He was cool as shit. We'd be playing softball out during gym class, and he would just be standing behind home plate doing play-by-play. It was awesome, and roasting people. Good time. But yeah, that was my experience with paddle sports in high school. Gonna wrap it up with this one. I don't really care so much about the story here, so much as this woman who's quoted in the story is very, very pathetic to me. And I wanted to comment on that quickly before I said goodnight. Podcaster Taylor Strecker says Brittany Mahomes is not worthy of Taylor Swift friendship. Get away from her. And I guess I'm done. I'm not doing audio I don't think I'm doing any audio for the rest of the episode. Listening to any, that is. So I can take that off. But this is on page 6. She's not ready for it. Taylor Strecker says Brittany Mahomes isn't worthy enough to be pals with Taylor Swift. The Taste of Taylor podcast host, who is a major Swiftie, told page 6 that she is very passionate about analyzing Mahomes and Swift's relationship. By the way, Taylor Strecker, who is so obsessed with Taylor Swift that she has a podcast about it. Any guesses as to how old Taylor Strecker is? Any takers out in the comments section? Any takers? No, I will tell you, Taylor Strecker is 41 years old. Do you believe that a 41-year-old woman she is so obsessed with Taylor Swift that she has a podcast all about Taylor Swift? There's a picture of her here. She's dressed like a 22-year-old, which is no surprise. She's wearing a black crop top and baggy jeans, because that is what every 22-year-old chick wears these days. Taylor is very upset that that Taylor Strecker, is upset that Taylor Swift is friends with Britney Mahomes. Now, I can't stand Britney Mahomes or Patrick Mahomes' brother. What's his fucking name? I forget his name. What's his name? Douchebag Mahomes, whatever the fuck his name is, doesn't like that Britney Mahomes and Taylor Swift are friends. But here's the thing. Is it Jackson Mahomes? Yeah. You hang at, like, if like Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce work, that's a very tight relationship the way they work together. Obviously, their spouses are going to socialize. So first of all, this is just it's a very stupid thing for anyone to be opining on. I've been saying for a while, I think Taylor Swift kind of sucks. I just have generally no use for her. She's not, I don't understand. Travis Kelce you could get much better pussy than Taylor Swift. I'll go to a bar. You go to a bar in Hoboken tonight. It's 8:51. If you are near Hoboken, you go out on Washington Street and find a hotter chick than Taylor Swift for sure. Many of every variety, whatever kind you're into. There are all sorts of different varieties of chick. Well, exotic, go downtown Jersey City. You find plenty of sexy Indian chicks walking around. Hoboken, you do more blondes. You got some Italians, maybe some fucking thick Latinas. You could do very, very better. That you go into a fucking community college class somewhere. You can find a hotter chick than Taylor Swift. And I know the money and the fame and all that, but you got NFL money. You got fucking pharmaceutical company commercial money. You got insurance company commercial money. You're doing fine. You're gonna be in a broadcast booth soon. You don't, unless you were trying to leverage it into more fame, you could do better than Taylor Swift. I look around the league, and there are backup quarterbacks, I'm sure, with hotter girlfriends than Taylor Swift. Christian McCaffrey, is he married to Olivia Culpo? Much hotter than Taylor Swift. So a lot of good stuff out there. You don't need Taylor Swift. She got no body. Taylor Swift is a gay man's version. Like, that is what a gay man thinks a sexy chick is. It is that, and not like a gay man who goes to a dingy club in the West Village and sucks a guy off in a fucking bathroom stall. I'm talking about the kind who were running the fashion industry in the 90s and were putting stick-thin fucking heroin chic models everywhere. It's not, a straight man likes, a chick with big tits and a fat ass who can fucking throw it around a little bit and wears the right amount of makeup. They don't want whatever the fuck Taylor Swift is. Especially if the money is the offsetting factor, and he's got Super Bowl champion. He's got a future Hall of Famer money. So there's just no reason for it. Unless it was about taking down, the final piece of pussy. If he was like, I've won the Super Bowl, I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. How do I set myself apart from the other all-time greats? And you do so by going out and banging the most well-known pop star on the planet. That I kind of get, but it would have been even more impressive if instead of dating, you had just fucking pumped and dumped. Like, because she's always got some fucking stupid boyfriend that she's toting around. If he had just analyzed her and dumped a load on her tits and then gone on his podcast and talked about it, that would have been fucking legendary. In any case, there's this chick, this 41-year-old woman who, by the way, I'm looking at this picture of her. I don't have the rights to this picture, so I'm not going to share it. But, she's in makeup because it's from a TV show. but the crow's feet and the wrinkles are starting to set in. Honey, you can't be a fucking obsessive Swiftie if you have wrinkles like that. Which I'm looking at a picture of Britney Mahomes and Taylor Swift, and neither one of them is a prize, if we're being totally honest. I mean, it is. If you were an average Joe working an office job and you were fucking one of these chicks, you'd be like, all right, you did, kind of maybe a schlubby dad bod type, and you picked up one of these broads and fucking landed her. You'd be very happy with yourself. Again, if you're a world-class athlete, there is just so much better ass out there. Very disappointing. Anyway, this is her talking about Britney Mahomes. She says, she is just so normal and let like the fabulous queens be fabulous. Like, what are you doing at dinner with Blake Lively and Sophie Turner? Get out of here. It just makes me so crazy angry. I can't even see straight, she says. This sounds like deep jealousy over the fact that Patrick Mahomes' wife, which, by the way, if you're Patrick Mahomes' wife, you're already breathing rarefied air. I don't think this woman understands. Like, if you are the wife of Patrick Mahomes, being at a fucking dinner table with Blake Lively and Sophie Turner isn't a stretch. What the fuck has Sophie Turner even done since Game of Thrones? Does she work? Is she still working? Has Blake Lively been in anything, or are these just sort of A-list whatevers who fucking, they get their picture taken by the paparazzi once in a while, and then they shit out a movie that probably isn't very good. She was hanging out with Cara Delevingne. I'm not impressed by any of these fucking people. I don't know how this will. I'm 39, and I do not know how this chick. I mean, you have to be such a fucking loser to be a 41-year-old woman and dedicate your life to celebrity. Unless you're like, if you're working for TMZ or something like that, I get it. And I guess you got this podcast about Taylor Swift, which maybe it's all just a big grift. Maybe she realized that the Swifties had money to spend and she knows how to manipulate social media. And I hope that that's, for the sake of my generation, I hope that that's what it is. Because if not, I mean, let's, she also said this very stupid thing. In my mind, I've chalked it up to like, this is what you do when you date a guy. You become friends with the girlfriends and wives of his best friend. Also, let's not overlook the fact that he's technically his boss. He's the boss of the ball. So no, actually, in no technical sense is Patrick Mahomes Travis Kelce's boss. That is not how the game of football works. The quarterback is not the boss in any way, shape, or form. He is the leader of the rhythm of the offense, and he distributes the ball, but he is not the ball. There's an offensive coordinator, there's a head coach, there's a general manager. He's not the boss. A wild statement. Anyway. I mean, this bitch is obsessed. The longtime radio personality also takes issue with Britney's fashion and hopes the latter isn't rubbing off on Swift. Everything she wears, it's like she's trying to infuriate me specifically, she says with a laugh. This is by the way, a 41-year-old woman who dresses like she's in high school. I mean, this is, if you want to talk about, to bring things together, time is a flat circle. I started the show talking about Blackout Wednesday and people who say, oh, it's pathetic to go back to your hometown and get drunk at your local tavern, which I, vehemently disagree with. You're never too good for a few beers at your fucking hometown bar, and a little trip down memory lane. This is the pathetic case of arrested development. The woman who tries to dress young and tries to relate with the youth by opining aggressively on the it girl pop star of the moment. That's the loser. You know, the guy who the night before Thanksgiving gets together with the old high school buddies, or fucking, stops in to see his favorite English teacher, or goes for a sandwich at his favorite deli from when he was growing up. Perfectly normal thing to do around the holidays. This is when we reflect on the good times of our lives. Not normal to be a 41-year-old woman whose life revolves around Taylor Swift. Something had to have gone horribly wrong in one of the. It sounds like this woman has been chronically broken up with, and in some sort of pathetic sense, just relates to Taylor through her lyrics or some such bullshit. Anyway. Anyway, guys. Theano, yes. Taylor Swift absolutely just lays there. This is there's this meme where it's a picture of like a blonde white chick with no ass talking about how much of a freak she is, and she's on all fours, but instead of having her lower back arched in a seductive manner, she has it fucking curved the other way, which if you've ever run into a chick who sets up for fucking doggy style, like, it is the absolute most infuriating thing in the world, and it's a dead giveaway that the chick you're betting does not know how to fuck if she's arching her back in the wrong fucking direction. And that is Taylor Swift to a fucking T. Celebrities as we know it are dead. Yeah. I've never understood celebrity fucking culture. It just doesn't appeal. I don't care about them. I don't find them interesting at all. I forget who I was in a room with someone one day and I had no fucking clue who it was. And I think it was like Colin Hanks or something like that. By happenstance, I happened like on like an elevator or some shit. And I was like, I think that's someone from somewhere. And then someone called him Colin. I was like, oh shit, Colin Hanks. And it just doesn't move the needle. I'm not awed by it. Unless I have an interaction with them and they're cool, then it's different because, it's the person instead of the product, as it were. Anyway, guys, I was going to take off next week. It's Thanksgiving and it's my nephew's birthday on the Friday. So I should be hanging out with my family watching football and most certainly not live streaming. And then after that, the week after that, I have the gym that I work for scheduled like it's like a 5:45 fucking meeting for some reason. But I have been told that they're taking us out for drinks afterwards. So I'm going to have to pre-record that one. And then, into the holidays, Friday nights are going to get grabbed here and there. So probably a lot of pre-records coming up. I sincerely apologize for that. Anyway, have yourselves a great Thanksgiving. Have a great blackout. Sorry, burping from that seltzer. Have a great Blackout Wednesday. Have a great Black Friday. Enjoy the food, the football, and etc. Great time being live here with you guys tonight. I do hope to do it more often, but I am a slave to my schedule. So Socials, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and YouTube, Mike's Golden Streams. Share it, tell your friends, and until next time, adios, motherfuckers.